Four, three, two.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of If That Makes Sense, or rather to the podcast where you decide if that makes sense. I'm super excited that we're here today with two amazing gentlemen. And this time, I'm also just going to be asking questions because we're talking about male friendship. A really amazing thing that I've come to see in Kenya right now, where guys are getting closer to one another. But maybe from us, the women, or maybe us from other people, you're trying to understand how are male friends? How are they, and how do they create the bonds that they do? So Brian and Sam will give us their individual experiences in the friendships that they have cultivated with other guys. Yeah, how are you guys? Let's start with Brian. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me here, Christine.
Yeah.
I have a question before we even proceed.
Okay, ask.
What do you call a group of computers that sing?
A group of computers
That sing.
that sing. I don't know.
Take a wild guess.
Signet. I don't know.
Signet, no? Adele. Yeah.
Goodbye and good night. Damn. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sam, how are you?
I don't have a joke,
Okay.
but I am good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome. So I personally know both of these amazing people from church, and we've cultivated an awesome friendship. But today is not about me and the friendships I have. It's about them and the friendships that they have. We're shooting this in very interesting weather. So if at some point we start rapping, guys, we are competing with the rain. But I hope the content is still super helpful. I know it will be. So we'll get right onto it. So do you have a close, neat circle of friends? And if you do, how many male friends are in that circle? We'll start with you, Sam.
Yes, I do, but it my friendships are kind of different in that most of the close people I have, some of them don't even interact with one another. They are from different spaces, but I have a good number of good close-knit friends, if you may
How
say.
many in that circle are male?
They're not many. They're like 2, 3, but I don't even have that many close friends, so that's enough for me.
Okay. And you?
Let me start with I'm an extrovert. So for extroverts, you find yourself having so many friends. I'll just call them friends because deep down I know they are friends.
Okay.
So a neat circle, I would say there's one that is growing. We are just increasing the number slowly by slowly, around 12 men.
Oh.
And then I have other smaller circles, like of 1, 2, 3 guys outside there. Like, yeah.
Okay, so would you say generally in your friendships you have more male friends or more female friends? For you. For you.
If I answer this question, I'll be in trouble.
I think at this point in my life, I have a healthy balance of both. I can't say it's not perfect, but I think the ladies a bit outweigh there
Good.
by maybe 1. I don't have that many friends. Sijafika 12.
For me,
Brian.
I am Brian. I'm a Brian. So 5 years ago, the female, they occupied like 75%.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then 25% were gents. But nowadays, just like a healthy balance.
A healthy balance being said.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you meet some of your male friends? Give us samples of where you met them. We'll start with you, Sam.
Let me say shared interactions. Would be social gatherings in church, doing hobbies and that, at work. Yeah. And even through problems.
Problems.
It is what it is.
Tasiongea hata na mashida mnapatana na unapata mtu wa dhati hapo. I think even it's interesting. That's where you get even some very good friends.
Yeah.
Some of my closest friends are through troubles. Yeah.
My friends, where we met, it goes way back in primary school. So primary school, high school, university, most of them university. Actually, most of them high school, university, and post-campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also church.
And also church.
Yeah.
All right. How have shared experiences like school, work, family, or hobbies shaped the connections that you've formed with other men? So, to elaborate a bit more, do you think that when you met, for example, in high school, in church, in all these areas, that some of those experiences bonded you together, and how? How did that happen? Let's start with you, Brian.
Let me start with church. Church, or rather, in all areas that you meet someone, I feel like you have a common interest, something that you can always talk about. Like even if you're cracking a joke, you can always take it back 10 years ago. Nini, nini. Some of them, they've really helped us in shaping who we are today. Yeah, if it's, let's say, high school, the values, some of the skills you got there, nini, nini. If it's church, if it's at the workplace and everything, like I believe they shape whatever area you met, or whichever area you met with this person, it helps you in shaping who you are today.
Okay.
Yeah. Hata kama ina contribute 10% pekee,
It's still
it
some.
plays a vital role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for example, in church, what would you say was your shared experiences with the friends you met then?
My shared experiences goes back when we were in SAFE, students at the feet of Emmanuel, Nimanza kwa chachi.
Like St. Andrew's Church, Nairobi.
Yeah, so our shared experiences included eating mandazi together on Fridays and fellowshipping. So it started like that slowly until it graduated.
Okay.
Yes.
And for you, sir?
Yeah, I'll say more or less the same. Shared experiences basically are the foundations for, but I've come to see that some of them are dependent, they'll depend the depth. Because so there are some which are temporary, like with school, mnatokanga hapo mkisema, hey, brothers for life, but life happens and you end up losing contact, and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I have seen the closest friends I have are the people who share values, character, same personality, character. Those are the ones which even transcend shared experiences like school, even hobbies or ball. Those are the ones I found deep connections with. Yeah,
I
over
like
time.
the word you've used, that some of those like character and values transcend the experience you had because you're able to continue with those relationships later on. That's amazing. So, this question is something I've really thought about, even when you put it in. How do men bond? And how does this differ from other types of friendship? So, how do you bond with each other as guys versus how you bond with like your parents, your siblings, your girlfriends, your lady friends? Asatia, how do you bond for friends?
This feels really entrapping. This question, ni zile you'll never have a right answer. Every answer is a whole.
Yeah.
But I'll say, I think it is based on, we bond mostly in terms of, I think the thing for me, I'll speak for myself, in terms of directness, and I am more of a person who responds with directness and shared values and everything. I'll find myself bonding with them, or shared interests also. Their friends are found through hobbies and everything, and you find a bond through them. So I'll say it's like that mostly, and it starts simple, but as you go along, you get to see and know one another through even the interactions they have with other people, like when they're around, because it's just any sort of relationship, I'd say. Because with every relationship, as things go on, you get to know the other person, and that's how you get to bond.
Okay. So for you, you've said directness. So does that mean like conversing with them about the things you really want to talk about?
As in, I'm more of a person who focuses on conversations more than experiences. What you say is what I'll take you as more often than not, and then I'll see your actions and everything. So that's how you get to. I've gotten to bond with guys.
So sitting down with people and talking.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah, shared experiences, shared interest. The way men bond, ama the way I bond.
Yeah, the way you bond.
The way I bond.
Guys.
I feel like I have different, how do you call it? Like categories of how I bond with my friends, or rather my male friends. Number one, there are those friends that we bond only when we are playing something like FIFA or video games. That is the only time that we will bond. And then And then as we bond, we usually talk. Like we
Okay, so the
converse.
bonding is in the talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can't just, let's say, hey, we, tupatane kesho, tuonge.
Because you're shy. Oh.
We have to have, let's say, a video game or something to play.
Okay.
And then as we play, we talk.
Okay. Okay.
Wanasemanga without seeing face to face. Yeah. The other one is through conversations. Kuna ule rafiki, the one that will call you and tell you, you know what, I want to tell you something. Huyu belongs to that category. You will not start telling him that he come over for FIFA, we talk. No. If he tells you that he wants to talk, you go, ama he comes. So there's that category. I think the categories are only two, coming to think of it, because the first one is through an activity, and then the second one is the intentional one. Like you have to sit down and talk. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So you're clearly more in the conversation kind, but do you sometimes? But you also mentioned hobbies.
Yeah.
So are there times you also?
I agree with. There has to be something to kind of break the ice, especially with new interactions, because ukienda hapo, it feels more confrontational. Ukiambiwa ati kuja tupatane tuongee kuhusu nini, you'll start thinking, hey, what's up? And like I said, directness. When someone asks me that, I'll tell them what is up. So they'll end up even saying it over the phone or not. So most times when you're gaming and then it's brought about, it's kind of a soft landing, if you may say, and it's easy. And I'll even say in terms of respect and loyalty, those are things that help us also bond a lot. And it's funny, as I was thinking through this, I thought, there are people I respect more than I like them. If I may say. I'm not saying I don't like them, but I respect them highly enough, and that makes me bond to them more than not. And this is, I think, respect and loyalty is kind of really big for us. If you don't respect us, if there's no loyalty, it brings a lot of, it's hard for us to bond.
But then how do you gauge someone's loyalty as guys? Let me tell you, like for us as chicks, we gauge loyalty. Hey, what is
Number
because I've seen a cat.
Oh.
A cat. Oh, it's born. Loyalty, like for us, is often if I told you something and then you went and told somebody else, or I told you and you used it against me. But what does loyalty? How do you measure that loyalty as a girl? How do you know your friend is loyal to you?
I would say if you share a problem with him and he listens to you and let's say offers advice without disclosing it to someone else, you view that as loyalty. And then also being there for you in your low times, in your high times, you view that as loyalty. Yeah.
I think you've answered this next question, which is, do you think this is enough or it could be more? But no, let me not say you've answered. Do you think the way in which you guys bond or how you see other guys bonding through conversations, through hobbies, is enough for men? Or do you think it could be deeper or better without even comparing with women? Because I actually feel it's unfair when we say, oh, men should talk more about nini like women, yet we are so different.
We talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So do you think that the way you guys do it is enough, or can it be more? Can it be deeper? Sam.
I kind of think there's more to be done. And this is not only a guy thing, it's even with ladies. There's always more in terms of relationships you need to consider so that we keep growing. But on the guy perspective, I'll say, we kind of neglect the emotional side too much, to a point where when emotional discussions come into the room, na mnacheza FIFA hapo, tunaona jamaa ameshindwa na kwanga so interesting. So, but if you find a balance with, and you kind of understand the person, you'll kind of see that these are conversations that can be had. I think the most wholesome and fulfilling friendships I have that are male, those things are not off limits. And we found a way of talking through them and for them. As in, for a man, vulnerability is such a big thing. So you exposing them, menda kunywa kahawa, ndio mnaanza, unataka kuongea na hizo vitu, and it would be less effective than mnacheza FIFA hapo in your own place and both of you. That would be more effective of having such a conversation than in public. So I'd say, yeah, we could do more on the emotional aspect, building, and I found a lot of fruits there and growth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with Sam, especially the emotional aspect. For a man, if a man like starts sharing his problems with me, at times unajipatanga tuko like wow.
Utadu.
Hata si so utadu. So like instead of, you see, for you ladies, I think you usually cry together, nini. But for us, wow, okay. And then for a problem, we might not find the solution at the moment. So like utapata, this person A is sharing his problems with me. Today he'll share 20%. Alafu nimwambie tupatane next time. Next time, pole. But for you, you kind of share everything from the word go. Hata if you'll take 5 hours, it doesn't matter, ndio? And then the other thing, I feel like whatever we men are doing, we should dig. I think we should go 30% deeper of what we usually do. If it's sharing, if it's doing everything that we do in terms of problem solving, we should at least, the interactions go at least deeper. Most of them surface level.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys can say that there's definitely a need to bring up more emotional conversations, or at least in a deeper way than just surface level.
In a deeper way.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming, because you've mentioned the aspect of somebody will share 20% and then next time maybe 30, 40. So can you say that you are at a point with some people in your lives, men, who you're at big percentages of what you share? I know some you've alluded to the fact that emotionally you have someone like that. Do you have somebody who you can share at least like 70 to 80%? A guy.
The funniest thing is, speaking on my own behalf, I would say they usually share, tutacheka tu.
Okay.
So we'll start with laughing, nini, I share a problem, nini, we laugh about it, I crack a joke, nini. At the end of the day, I think I have someone I can share with 80 to 90%. Yeah, but it won't be a serious conversation.
Oh, so it won't be
a lot of corners, nini, take the point home, take another corner, hivyo.
Kidogo.
Exactly.
I see that. And I think I acknowledge that it's something guys do a lot.
Yeah.
A taste of vulnerability and then jokes.
Yeah.
And everyone is different. If that's what works for you, then that's good.
Yeah.
What would you say is the best aspect of male friendship, and why do you think it stands out compared to other relationships? What is that thing about men that you just find so amazing that stands out than like outside all other relationships that you've experienced?
I'll say two things. I love the directness. Ile, what will you eat? Ni hii. Ni hii.
Yes.
Si ni hii then baadaye ama ni jaribu. That's why I said hizi maswali zingine ni mtego. But you're talking about male friends.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
As in your directness, that's just a very basic example. Okay. But I like it. Let me also go deeper into it by saying the directness also brings about some sort of, it tends to also bring conflict. And when it is in a healthy way, that conflict, if it goes well, it can even strengthen your bond. So mtu atakuja kuambia the way they see something, utakasirika ama ufanye nini, saa zingine hata utaki, unashangaa shida huyu mtu ni nini. But baadaye, if you actually have healthy ways and avenues of dealing with it, you end up becoming stronger friends. The other thing I'll say is more in line with, how may I put it? Acha tuachie hapo.
We don't know what you're thinking. Okay, we can just...
I've remembered.
Okay.
I think it has to do with, I think the words are what are living are zinanipotea, but showing up, yes.
Okay.
In terms of showing up. I love the fact of when it's guys, there's this sense, especially, I don't know, but I'll just say from my end I have close guy friends who sometimes they won't even ask whether you're okay. They'll just sense you're okay and they'll show up at your door. Okay. And I prefer that than the talking part. These are guys who just show up, sit there with you, go through the emotions with you. You might never even discuss it. And that presence, kwa sababu they might not even have the words to discuss. I also found myself in such situations. But you show up, you're there, you go through the motions with them. And I love that a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Because sometimes it's not about words, just about
Presence.
presence.
That's beautiful.
I feel like Sam has shared everything, but I would say,
Just to echo.
just to echo what she has said, directness, like just straight. And then also loyalty. When it comes to talking about the interactions, there's a lot of loyalty for men. Like, brother akisema niko pabaya. For a man, you ensure that you don't sleep without talking to this person. Like, you make sure that liwe liwalo, you have to talk to this person, get to know what is like ailing him. Yeah.
Wow. Hey.
Hata like I have a friend, even if ni saa sita saa saba niamke nikumbuke haya, this guy alisema he has this problem, this and this and this and this, I just call.
It's beautiful to see this side of male friendship. I think from the outside looking in, of course, because we don't understand, we don't see it. So it's really
See the silliness.
this guys talk for 2 seconds. That's not
Exactly.
enough. But those 2 seconds you were together was everything.
Yeah.
I really like that. Ladies, are we listening? Another really awesome question that we came through was, do men call each other out?
Haha.
Do men call another cat, guys? Okay.
Utaimba paka zote.
So cute. Aya. Do men call each other out, especially on things that you can tell clearly what this person is doing is wrong? And I ask this with such passion. Because there are times, more passion. There are times I have seen guys completely close their eyes to something a guy is doing to somebody else and act like, me, I never saw it. So I often wonder, maybe on the other side he's been called out na amekataa kusikiza, but or maybe not. So I can't assume. So do men call each other out, especially on areas where they see somebody is not doing something right? We start with you, Brian.
I think they do.
Okay.
We usually call each other out, only that the intensity isn't as high as for ladies.
Okay.
But it's rare for a guy to call out another guy. Okay. So let's start with the age bracket, or rather, let me say the age groups. If we are peers, I can easily call you out. If someone is younger than me, I can easily call him out. Ukiona amekosea nini. But if now someone is like 5 to 10 years older,
It's harder.
like it's harder. Hata unashanganga, where do I start from? You've seen this person has wronged. Whatever he has done is totally wrong. But you won't like directly call him out. Utatumia shortcut. I'm a long cut. You go to another person of his age, nini, and uambie person so and so, I think whatever he did is not okay. The avenues that we use, I think mostly for me, I think it's face to face, because I was taught by someone that if you kind of like, let's say, relay your emotions via text, via WhatsApp, they might be misinterpreted. Unaweza kuwa umemaanisha mazuri, and then this other person
they read it defensive.
Exactly. So I would say face to face. Even if I have to do it over the phone, I'll call you and then tell you, hey, by the way, we need to meet. There's something I want us to discuss. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot is lost in translation when it's texted, and like tone, non-verbal cues, and what. So it's
Kwanza
very
wenye
easy.
watumiange emojis.
Yeah. When you say something, and this is a guy you know who is always putting emojis, then it usually sends kind of a weird vibe. So face to face, you can see someone is relaxed. You can maybe even sense the concern, and instead of the attack, you might see through words. Yeah. So I'll say that, and yeah, I think he's covered everything.
Yeah. Have you guys been called out by your male friends before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it not done face to face, and how did it feel?
I think there are also instances where it can't wait.
Okay.
That's when I'll say there needs to be a compromise. And I found a healthy compromise with my friends. Brianna said in terms of calls. Calls actually do, because there are some things they need to be cut there and then. Civitu will have to wait. And we are in a world where we are getting busier by the day. So unaweza sema tutapatana, then you end up imekuwa the next time you are meeting them, they are in the third stage of whatever it was, and it's even hard getting through to them. So I prefer you being intentional to correct it at the very moment you can and finding a way. Or if you can't, you just say, we need to have a very serious conversation about this and this, so that you give them context and you even tell them to consider what this, so that we have a conversation. So that, when you're told such things, I usually halt. Not even defensive. When I'm told to consider or even that we need to talk, instead of being told the actual problem of a text, it usually received better for me, because then I'll try to think what's up. I'll be introspective about it, as opposed to when I'm told the problem of a text. So it's about just finding a balance so that the issue is. But I do think calling out is quite, and like I said, directness. Na wanaume hakunanga kubebwa, unaambia venye iko. And I like it, and I really like it. I might not like it in the moment. That's why I was saying some people I don't like, but I really respect them because they have the audacity and the guts to tell me, because in the long run, I'll see their point is they actually want the best for me. Yeah.
Okay. And for you, have you been called out, and did you like how it was done?
Yeah, I have been called out on several occasions. Like kitambo. But no, you see, no one is perfect. We all have our flaws. Unaweza jipata one day umekosea hivi nini. Yeah. And I think the people who called me out were older than. Yeah. It was face to face. Yeah. Brian, come, let's talk. Ukisikia let's talk.
You get ready.
Yeah. But I like being called out face to face rather than through the phone, texting and everything. Yeah.
Because like you said, anything could be lost in translation. And it's cool to see that you guys you reciprocate what has been done to you, because it would be very unfortunate if you've been corrected, you've been called out, but you shy off from doing the same reciprocity. Yeah. All right. What would the ideal boys hangout look like to you? You see, for us, it's like picnics and
flowers
and
and cats.
And cats. Cats are very essential. What is an ideal boys hangout for you? Because such a thing.
Ideal boys hangout. There are many.
List them all.
I think number one is food.
Okay.
To be specific, nyama, meat, ugali, or meat. Just meat.
Yeah.
Meat is the base. Lazima ikuwe hapo. Number one, so the ideal. Number one is FIFA.
Okay.
Ukienda tu room, maboys wamejaa, they're playing FIFA.
That's it.
You feel at home. And then number two, again, nyama choma. Like nyama choma joints.
Oh, I was gonna ask, nyama choma in someone's home or outside?
No, inside the home. It's more of like the cooked. The cooked, the fried days or the fried meat and everything.
So you have to go outside. For you, that's what you prefer.
No, the number one was FIFA.
Yes.
FIFA indoors with meat.
Oh, so FIFA and meat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then number two, now nyama choma outdoor.
Okay.
Nyama choma outdoor. Number three, ideal.
Hamtaki picnics.
Surely.
Tubebe maleso hapa tu.
The other one I would say road trips.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'll be weird. Road trips are in normal places like tarmac, nini, and then road trips in muddy places.
Okay, to show off driving skills.
Yeah.
Get it. For you, Sam, what is the ideal hangout?
I'm mostly introverted, so hizo vitu, some of them are kinda the things which I don't really go to. I find myself avoiding them sometimes because most of the things, I think you have a very interesting dynamic here. It's very healthy. So for me, I'm more of a conversation type. So whatever setting it happens, for me, I could even consider it an hangout. We could be driving wherever, but for me, as long as we are talking, it's a hangout. Tunaweza kuwa hata tumemeet after a social gathering. Tukae hapo, tuongee for 2 hours, tumesimama hapo. and we catch up as guys, everything. That is enough for me. And I find it quite wholesome. Instead of the, can I even say stereotypical that girls say, that booze, we have to go out of town, Masubaru boys, hizo vitu zote. They are there, but I'd say there's more to it. There's more meat to it. I think those are just things we like. I think the commonality is having a common interest and bonding through it. That's how we hang out mostly.
Wow. Those are very interesting ideas of how to hang out with somebody.
Yeah.
But I like the whole concept. I've never put FIFA and Nyamachoma in the same statement, even in my head. I've never thought about it that way, but I really like it. Let's talk about fallouts. Do guys have fallouts in terms of their friendship? Like, are there, maybe even in your personal experience, have you fallen out with a guy who was your friend? And I know that's a yes or no. So to give meat to that question, how did it happen? Did it happen, you talked and realized, apart anymore? Was it a fight, or was it just gradual? Like you just realized, we're not spending time anymore, and this doesn't work for me. You seem ready to answer. You can answer.
Let me ask you, a cat has how many lives?
9.
9 lives.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm the way I usually do it. I give you like even the 9 chances, even 10 chances. Sasa nikiona wewe, you're beyond repair. Ama if our values don't like align, let's say we were friends when our values were aligning, and then sasa all of a sudden you started doing like drugs, cocaine, bangi and everything.
It's not working.
Nendanga tu, unatoka friend, unakuwa acquaintance, go slowly.
That is
But now the funniest thing with men, tunaweza kaa 10 years without seeing each other.
and you're still friends.
Huh?
Best-
When we meet,
Eh.
bro, hug, nini.
That's
like,
Bro,
yeah.
I realize even guys sometimes don't know each other's names, but you're just
It's
bro
true.
to everybody.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now for the fallouts, yeah, it does happen to men. As I had said, if our values don't align,
No,
birds of the same feather.
flock together.
Exactly. So if our values don't align, trust me, there'll be a fallout between us. And also, if I sense like our friendship is not headed in the right direction, like someone backbite, I backbite you, nini, there's no loyalty there.
Yeah.
So I don't think it will work. The other one about the 9 chances, mtu amekukosea the first time, intentional. Second time, third time, it reaches to a point whereby you tell them, you know what, adios. Yeah, this
So you'd have the conversation with them.
good question.
Yeah.
Good
Would
question.
you have the conversation, or would you let it die? Like you just stop talking, you just stop inviting them.
There's this is it Kamee Mama Kanini, Ka Simpson, penye anakwanga kwa kabush and then goes slowly. I think, honestly speaking, I'm that type.
Okay. You
I'm trying to work on it, but I'll ghost you. Slowly. Zoom. Yeah.
Have you had fallouts?
Yeah.
And how did you experience it, and how did you end the relationship?
There are some I'm quite direct. We just have the conversation and I say, we really aren't helping one another in this life. And it depends, but
More cash.
but it will really depend on the interaction, the way we interact with one another. It is very key. So there are people who don't react well to directness, which might become even, it won't get through, it will become a big issue. And there are those, they prefer you just going your own way, like you said, fading away and everything. And it kind of gets to you just understanding the kind of friend you have before that. Because so it's just the same way you bonded, you should also be aware of how these people respond to. You can communicate to them in other ways than that. But I've had pretty vocal conversations, even to myself. There are people who've come directly to me and said, we're not aligning in this. I'm not saying it's easy, but I find it quite necessary because I've found that in this life, you could have a lot of people around you, but not necessarily even know who your true friends are. So that's why I find it even quite right when we have that conversation, because that's the person I'll know I can call and I won't have at the back of my mind reservations or doubts whether we are truly friends or not. But they happen, yeah, and I've had.
Now that we've talked about how it's easy to either have a fallout with somebody or know that somebody is a true friend, what would you say is one of your biggest values when it comes to male friendship? And I'll remove the ones you've already mentioned, loyalty and directness. So what else would you say, this is how I know that this guy is somebody I'd want to do life with because it just makes sense to me? Does that with you, Sam?
Intentionality. If they're intentional about things they say and things they believe in, and they have a code. These are not people who tomorrow they are doing this and that. For me, I'll feel even more secure being around them because at least I'll know whether it's something I like or not, at least I know where they stand with something. So I'd say a code is quite key, and a value system.
Kind of code.
A code is just a way of life, the way you accept to live your life and see life. And that could entail your faith also. Maybe faith is your biggest code in terms of I align to God, I align to his principles and values, because even by knowing that, it will help me even call them out when they are going in a certain direction. But imagine mtu ako hivi, kesho utakuwa tu sawa, utakuwa tu, they are like this, oh, okay. They are shifting. And even to me, I want to build a life with even male friends where we are headed in a direction where these are guys I'll be talking to about my family. These are guys who, when I have trouble and I want them to go home and take my wife or kids somewhere, I can trust them because I know where their mind is at. Yeah. But someone I don't really know, doesn't have a code, I really find it difficult.
True.
Yeah.
What is that one thing for you?
Industrious. Like, you have to be industrious. Like, there's a difference between being poor and broke. Now, I don't like poor people.
Okay.
I like broke people. The difference is a poor person, even mentally, he's poor. Like, always complaining, doesn't have any, like, let's say, strategy to make money. Even if it's 10 bob, they don't have any strategy. They always borrow you money. Hey, bro, idea so, idea 15, idea 20, like, daily. A broke person, they might not have the money, but their minds, they're sharp. Yeah, they tell you, hey, give me a loan of 500 bob. I want to do this and this and this. I'm sure I'll reap profits maybe of 200 and then I'll refund you. You see, that is a broke person. So you have to be industrious, yeah, and also supportive.
With everything that you're doing in life.
Not everything per se, at least one thing. Yeah?
Okay.
Be supportive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That is not everything.
Yeah,
So you don't
that's
expect them to be there everywhere,
I
but
know.
at least in one thing.
People are busy.
Yeah.
Say kila weekend unaweka event and then I expect you to show up.
Okay.
If you don't show up, it's over between us. Hapana.
Wow. All right. We're heading towards the very end. Do you think societal expectations of masculinity affects how men form and maintain relationships, not only with other men, but generally in other relationships as well? So do you think there's a societal way people expect men to be friends or even to be with other people in the world or even in their circles? And what are some of these ways? And do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? We can start with you.
We can start with some.
You can
as
start
I,
with some.
as I think about it.
I think yes, there are.
Yeah.
And the risky thing is when you actually, I've come to a point in life where I accept that the way I've been brought up, the way where I was born and all that was not in my control. But how I end up, how I'm in the present is within my control. So I have to be very intentional about the man I am. And in case you didn't grow up with a father figure and what, it's quite common these days, you'll end up learning, getting that information from somewhere, whether you like it or not. So it will either be from the society or from all the right sources, depending on how intentional you are. Like, ukianza kuwa msee wa toxic masculinity hapa, where masculinity Saturday ni wewe uko hapo una repost na una share. And I think something I learned recently is, and it's kind of sad, it's a conversation you're having even with a close guy friend, is we made a intentional, can I say, to being accountable to each other about joking about serious things. We realize some of the jokes we are having, we know their jokes, but we end up acting within those jokes and they becoming a part of our lives. So we started becoming very serious about small things that you might be, it's banter, it's quite normal. But then I realized when the actual situation happens, you will do the same. And it scared us a lot. So he said, those are things we'll call each other out on. And I realized we have a lot to learn, relearn, and learn. And it's all about you just being intentional. Because the society will form you or you'll decide the person you are. It's either one of those two. There's no way you can say that I'll be around kuna hii meme nakumbuka ya sheep walking amongst crocodiles. Though through, I think that was only Jesus. Sisi si Jesus. When you walk amongst crocodiles, you'll be eaten.
Oh, yes.
You'll be eaten. There's no way you'll be like evil. So you need to accept that you're a human being. You're flawed. You have a subconscious which you cannot control. So whatever you hear, whatever you say, or however you act, be it jokingly or unjokingly, it becomes a part of your character. So I really think it's something I really take seriously these days. And it's also crucial in how you surround yourself with. I surround myself with guys who won't joke around marriage and say, "Sijui nini nini hivi," because I cannot be saying I want a marriage.
Yeah.
So it's very crucial for me, even with society and friends, to make sure I'm aligned with the same people in character and in values.
Before we get into Brian, that's such an essential thing that you've mentioned, because sometimes we think about how your friends keep you accountable in areas like marriage, but if these are the same people you were joking about, for example, issues like cheating or having, if you are joking about it, what makes you think the moment one of you does it, we won't just laugh it off, you know? So for Brian, do you think the
Actually-
society has shaped things, and how does it work for you?
Again, mine is to echo what Sam said. Yeah. Actually, for that question, Christine will just allow me to. We just rely on what Sam has supplied us with. Just to add on, there's a day, I don't know what Sam asked in the group, and my response was in a humorous way.
As usual.
Based on your personality.
And then he called me out. But I liked how he did it because he included a laughing emoji.
Okay.
And then I said, "Oh, by the way, this was a serious matter.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be joking." So as I said, we will just rely on what Sam said. I was just topping it up.
Yeah, so it makes perfect sense.
Wow, I didn't know that work. You know, I actually started understanding your personality.
Oh.
And that's why it makes sense when you react, you get into the other person's world. Because I remember if I was saying that to a fellow introvert, mi angekuwa na emoji, na haingekuwa different.
Oh, yeah. So you twisted it.
You
to-
kind of get into the world, and I'm glad that.
Yeah, I saw it worked. It kabisa 100%.
Oh, look at this. Guys. Last question.
Yeah.
What is an essential? Tunaonekana ama giza imeingia kabisa? Okay, so can we do one last question? Alright. What is one thing a guy has told you, or you've read from a guy, or something you've learned from a guy in your life that you've held very dear, especially in how you maneuver through your male friendships? I'll start with you.
Yeah. There's one guy. I won't mention his name, but one thing he told me, and I've always carried those words, is life is a journey. Never compare yourself to your fellow, to anyone else. Like you are a unique print. Hata akasema, the fingerprint, you don't share it with anyone else globally. So I've carried that thing that I should never compare myself. So if your brother succeeds before you, clap for them because your turn will come. Hata kama your turn will take 10 years later, it will come if you put in the hard work. And because he told me that because most men, we end up in depression because nione Sam hapana. Tunashindana naye. Kwanza, worst case scenario, if someone is younger than you, like 3 years younger,
They're doing better.
they are making 4 times whatever you're making, and then you call like, hey, my lord. Yeah, so never compare yourself to someone else. Run your race. Yeah.
Wow, powerful.
faith is part of my code. So it is tied to faith. It is more something I was told last year, and it has dramatically changed my life. I'm a man, I'm not God. And I'll have dependents. People will have expectations for me as a man, be it family, be it church, be it friends. Expect you to have it figured out and everything. But you need to know that God is the only one who has everything figured out. So as a man, I need to depend on the source every single time. When someone comes to me for answers, it's not a bad thing saying I don't have, but I know where to get them. So it's about just connecting. It was more of connecting that link of, I used to live with this fact that I grew up with this place where I was depended upon with so many things, responsibilities, and when I didn't have them, I was so hard on myself. But now I came to a point last year, I realized if I don't have them, that's actually me. I should accept it and go to God. And it has been so wholesome. So even when someone burdens me with something, or even someone comes and offloads on me with problems and everything, instead of having the answers, I know where I should take them. And it has eased up my life as a man to a point where I really feel as if I have submitted to God, and it has helped me understand a lot about myself, even as a man. Yeah.
These are both such amazing nuggets and truly things even we can take up as a general public. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode despite the darkness. I promise you we will get better and better equipment. But thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you guys for being here. And we'll end this there. See you on the next episode.
Bye bye.
Cut.